want to start off with I respect Al Sharpton. As we all know, three people were murdered in Florida due to a racist Caucasian person. So Al Sharpton does a meeting with the president and Martin Luther King III, the son, the wife, and the granddaughter was there. And then I saw today he did another press conference. So he plans on going to Florida next. And then I see Dr. Bernice King. My issue with that press conference with Al Sharpton, so Al Sharpton is very prominent. All these years he's been speaking. Now, keep in mind that the Asians have an anti-hate bill. The Jews are protected. The Native Americans are not protected. African Americans are the only ones yet that's not protected by a bill. I was talking to somebody and they were like, well, the reason why the Asians have their anti-hate bill is because Asians, along with the Jews, they own businesses and property. And I'm like, wow. So then it boils down to, if our people owned something and came together collectively, like in the civil rights movement with the boycotting, I'm pretty sure they would have a bill for us. Because these tragedies are going to continue to occur. You would think we would learn from Charleston that happened a few years back. Now, Buffalo incident happened, and now Florida. Like, I don't hear nobody talking about boycotting. I don't hear nobody mentioning, oh, okay, well, guess what? We're gonna take issues into our own hands. When I do these videos is to make awareness and to spark change. And now I feel in my spirit, I have to take the initiative to go to Albany or to the White House and be like, hey, just because we don't own property or whatnot does not mean we're not entitled to a bill. Mind you, we may not own a lot of businesses as of yet because there are African Americans that are becoming business owners more. We still deserve to be respected. When it comes to supporting other businesses, we make up a large percentage, especially when these immigrants come into these neighborhoods, especially New York, like the delis, the Chinese stores. We're the largest consumers and supporters of these businesses. If our money stops, guess what? These businesses would not survive. So I don't like the fact that I'm hearing we're not getting a bill because we don't own anything or we don't stick together. That may be true, but again, there is power in money. We have power that we don't even know that we have. I'm tired of seeing these tragedies happen and people are like, oh my gosh, and they're complaining, but what are you doing? Are you writing to your politicians? Are you going up to Washington? Because that same week or two long protesting that we had for George Floyd, we should be having for those innocent victims. That whole talking stuff and meeting with the president, I wouldn't even do, because at the end of the day, the president can't do anything. What people need to realize is that Congress holds the power, not the president. See, me, if I was in a higher power, I would be making sure I storm Congress and be like, hey, do something. Because the bill is sitting there. Trust and believe me, along with the reparation that they owe us, there's an anti-hate bill sitting there. There's a lot of bills that are somewhere in Congress sitting on somebody's desk. It is just way beneath that pile because they're going to pick and choose what they feel is important. And for my people, get it together. We're going to have to put our differences aside and come together, because what's going to happen, we could sit there and be like, oh, we're going to hold candlelight visuals and turn a blind eye until your loved one is taken away from you due to hate. You don't want to see that happen? You best to believe, stop supporting these politicians, because I'm not a Democrat. I don't plan on being one. I was one. After I voted for Obama, I end up decided I would not be a Democrat. I don't agree with Democrat politics. To me, they fall in line with Republicans. The only thing with Republicans, they're more honest. They tell you what it is. Then Democrats like to sugarcoat when they talk. And the thing is, as we could see, although Democrats claim that they're for the people, they're really not. So I don't agree. To me, after reading, and even when Giuliani was mayor in New York, there was less crime. If you look at how Republicans present themselves and do things versus Democrats, you will see that, for example, there are less crimes when Republicans are in office, believe it or not. The money is allocated more respectfully. For example, more responsibly, I would say. They're more responsible with the money. Now, the only thing with Republicans, they do not support social programs. So that's like welfare, Social Security. Like, they're against that. But, I mean, there are ways to go around that. Whereas Democrats, they start funding stuff that don't need to be funding. Now, I get it. They want to help the people because there are people that need help. But there should be a limit to that funding. You can't just be dishing out money. Like, the amount of money that was dished to Ukraine was, it was it blew my mind. Like, how you spend so much money and now you have more immigrants coming in and New York is suffering. And now they have money to bring immigrants in, because keep in mind, those politicians are getting paid big time to bring those immigrants in. But I guarantee you, if a Democrat was in power, that wouldn't happen. Again, I'm not against immigrants coming here seeking asylum and whatnot. The thing is, resources and money is scarce. So we can't afford to be dishing out money for people that we think we can't help, because we cannot help everybody. We cannot. There are other places, countries that are more sustainable, Denmark, Finland, but unfortunately those countries are very strict with who they let in. But there are other places. But again, there's a difference between Democrat and Republican. And the thing is, when you get older and you watch certain stuff, you see that that's probably why we're in a recession. That's probably why there's a lot of cutbacks, like certain programs or certain, like teachers, certain pay are getting cut back because Democrats think that they could start just spending money on things that they feel is necessary, which is hurting people. Al Sharpton is a Republican, so as you can see, I digress, but it all ties in. Again, I respect my leaders. It's just that I don't agree with many of their ideology or what they do. We need to stop talking. We need to stop meeting with presidents and whatnot, because again, at the end of the day, the president, yes, they run the U.S., but their boss is Congress. They can't sign any bill in place unless Congress gives them the okay. So let's stop saying, oh, we need to have a sit down with President Biden. No, you need to have a sit down with somebody from Congress, because Biden is just there. He's on the front line. Congress is in the back. He has to go through Congress and be like, they have to say yes or nay. So he'll present something to Congress and they have the power to say, okay, we approve or we reject. That's why people got upset with Obama during the 8 years that he was in office, because they were like, well, he should have did X, Y, and Z. Keep in mind, Trayvon Martin got killed during his presidency. A lot of African Americans were getting killed by police brutality by when President Obama was in office. And people were like, well, what is he doing? Again, it's through Congress. I'm pretty sure he wanted to do many things, but the president cannot sign or enforce laws unless Congress gives them the okay. People are going to have to go to the library and do some extensive research and know how the Constitution, how these laws work, because people think that the president have this power. No, they do not. They are there to represent Congress and what Congress wants, not what we want. Because although we vote, and another thing, I just feel like at this point the president is already chosen. But the truth will come out. Some of these elections, yeah, our votes matter, but the presidency, but I'm going to leave that alone for another conversation. But yes, I really think we need to boycott. We need to find like some ways on how these issues don't happen, because it's very sad that you can't go to the grocery store without looking over your shoulder to see if somebody's going to shoot you. You can't go in public, or you're not safe at work because some maniac thinks, oh, I have something against an ethnic group, so I'm going to go on a rampage and kill. That it's like we're reliving the civil rights movement. That's what I feel. We're reliving history, because there's no way, because these people get killed. Some of them, the racists, if they don't kill themselves, they'll get arrested, but they're like serving a few years in jail and then they get out. Some don't even serve life or even get the death penalty. So what justice is really being served? And then you have more innocent victims getting killed. So my thing is, where are these laws being put in place to protect African Americans? Other ethnicities have anti-hate crimes bill put in place for them, and we don't. But we're sitting here having discussions. The discussions are not helping anyone. Again, boycott. We need to find our way to Washington or do some work. People who took to the streets back in 2020, bring that back. I'm not saying to go loot property, businesses, but come on. Stop supporting businesses, and those that don't like you, don't go in their establishments. That's another way you can have a voice, because not everybody can protest. Not everybody can march on Washington. Not everybody can storm the Capitol, but you can decide where you spend your money at. Don't go in these people establishments knowing that they don't like you or they don't respect you, and because you like what they have. No, if they don't like you, don't go in there. I used to rent from a Jew. I made sure when I left that apartment, I made sure I would never step back foot in an apartment building that's ran by a Jew. And again, I have no issues with the Jewish community, but the majority of them are racist. The majority of them don't like us, except when they're renting to us, and even that they don't like to do. So again, I'm not being hateful. Is my experience and what I decide to do or spend my money, or who I associate myself with, because I'm gonna be cordial with you, but just know I'm not doing business with you. Because I like to give everybody the benefit of that. I like to respect people. But the minute I see, you're making little slick comments, you're treating ethnicity different from your own, so then I won't be supporting your establishment. I won't. I try my best. If I'm going to Harlem or places, I see someone that looks like me, they have something that I need, if I can, I'm going to support. So we have ways where we could support if you can't protest or march. But stop supporting people's establishments that do not like you, that are known racist, and stop doing that. Please stop. You can spend your money elsewhere. There's other businesses. Like I said earlier, there are African American businesses that are on the rise and that need our support, but people want to go to other establishments. And then people want to complain, "Oh, well, there's not a lot of minority businesses." Did you look? Did you look? Because during the right when Juneteenth became a federal holiday, there were a lot of businesses like Amazon that were in solidarity of buying and supporting African American businesses, and there were businesses that were African American that were being promoted. So I don't want to hear, "Oh, there's no minority business." There is. And a matter of fact, we're no longer the minority because there's a lot of us now. We just get treated as a minority, but we're no longer a minority. Thank you for listening.